Hi everyone and welcome to a new E&C interview.
We had the pleasure of meeting with VLADIMIR RODIĆ, who is a 26-year-old football player from Serbia, who is currently playing for Hammarby in Sweden.
We had a really interesting chat with Vladimir, so we hope you're gonna like it.
Also, don't forget to watch till the end, because we have a very cool surprise for you.
See you. Hi Vladimir, and thank you for meeting with us today. So to start, can you tell us a bit who you are and what you're doing?
I'm a professional football player playing in Hammarby in Sweden, based in Stockholm, and I've been playing football all my life, and been enjoying it since I was pretty much 5 years old, maybe something like that. So it feels good.
So when did you start, and why did you start playing soccer?
Well,
football.
In the beginning was I think when we were kids you always chase the ball and you play in the park. So I was probably like 4 or 5 or 6 maybe when I was playing with friends in the park, and but then I think I was 8 where I had my first official training in the club. And since then I started with being serious and training every day and having games in the weekend and so on. Basically it was chasing for the ball every day, and that's why I started. I loved it.
Okay, and you're born in Belgrade in Serbia.
Yep.
So how was it to grow up in Serbia and to play soccer there?
Well, in the 90s it was obviously a little bit tough with the situation in the country and everything. So but I was always trying to distance myself, and my parents tried to distance me from the things that were happening then, and it didn't have such a big influence on me, the war and so on, but it was always in the back of your head, and I think those things made me stronger in a way, and maybe have a little bit more, be more hungry and more passionate about football and about the game. And I sometimes I think about it, and I'm glad in a way that I was growing up in that environment.
Okay.
That made me stronger, that maybe the man I am today.
And when did you know you wanted to be professional? Did you know since you were 8 and looking at the TV or looking at big player, did you know, yeah, this is what I want to do in my life, or did it come later?
Yeah, basically straight away when I started, I was always looking up to the players, the famous big players that were playing football, and I was always inspired by them. Back at the time it was Ronaldo, the Brazilian. Then Ronaldinho came, and all of those magnificent players that were playing at that time when I was young. And I always knew that that's what I want to do for life, that I want to be a professional football player, and there was no single doubt in my mind that something else is going to happen. My parents, they were always pushing me to go to school and later on go to the college. So I had support from my family also in the football, but what I think it's also important that you have an education also besides sports. So I was been always dealing with those things, but football was primarily my thing.
In 2015, then you signed to Malmö FC in Sweden. You refused to go to Atletico Madrid, that wanted to sign you as well, which is in Spain in one of the biggest league in Europe. Can you tell us more about these shows, and why did you choose Sweden and Malmö and not, as a young player, I guess Atletico Madrid is something, maybe it was a dream, and you still say no and prefer to come to Sweden, Malmö?
Yeah, well, while I was growing up, I always wanted to play in Europe. I always had this goal in my head where I wanted to go out from Serbia and play in Europe, play on the big stage, so to say. That the second year that I played in Rad, the second season that I had, I did very good, and I had an agent at that time that I was talking to, and I said to him, like, I feel that this is the year that, you know, I can try something else. I can go out. I can go to Europe. I can, get more serious. And I was so to say, I wanted it so much to go out. I was impatient. And then the offer from Atletico Madrid came, an official one. But the tricky part was that they were offering a 6 months loan. So I can go there, and I think the first deal was supposed to be that I would train with them with the first team on Mondays and Tuesdays. For example, the first 2-3 days in the week, and then the rest of the days I would train with the second team and play. I believe it's third league of Spain for 6 months, and then if I show myself as good, and they want to sign me, then I could sign afterwards. And obviously, when the offer came, I was so hyped. As you said, it's a dream to go and play for such a big club. At that time, I think they were top 4 clubs in Europe. So I mean, they probably still are. But I think that year was the year where they played Champions League against against Real Madrid, and lost in the final. So that's what I was going to say. Then as I said, I was impatient. I wanted to go. I was so hyped. And then I had a talk with my agent, and he said, this is good, but take it easy. We might have something else coming. But I didn't want to listen. I just wanted to go, because also you had this thing where you want to go from Serbia and play somewhere else. And then there was this moment where he showed me the data where Atletico Madrid is signing players. So I could have seen that in I don't know how many years in the past, there's only one player that's been that brought up from the second team to the first team, and that played regularly. It was Koke, the captain. So, and then I thought, it's true. Whenever Atletico wants to bring a player, they pay 50 million. It's not that they're kind of bringing players from the youth. And then Malmo came, and I felt that it's better opportunity. It was the Swedish champion. It was a really nice opportunity for me, and I took it.
And obviously, it was a big year for Malmo, as you had the chance to play Champions League, and the team and you as well, you play really well, so you had the chance to play the stage qualification, and obviously it was probably the biggest group in the whole this year, with Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, and PSG. So can you tell us more about this, from somebody that come from Serbia and dream to play big team, and then the first year you sign in Europe, you have the chance to play in Bernabeu in Madrid against Ronaldo, and then PSG with Zlatan. It must be a dream come true.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it happened so fast for me that I've been playing in Serbia in May 2015, and then already in September I was playing against PSG in Paris. So I tell you that it happened so quickly, and but I was just living in the moment, focusing on what I need to do, and I had it so much in me. I wanted to show people that I'm the right player for because when I came to Sweden, I got asked a lot of what kind of player you are. People don't really know who you are. They didn't really know who I am, which is normal, of course. So I wanted to put myself on the map, show what I can do, And yeah, it was really good with reaching Champions League. We won against Salzburg and Celtic in the qualification groups. So yeah, it was a dream come true for me, definitely, to play in the Champions League and to play against players like that, and to compare yourself to their level. You always think about playing in the biggest divisions and biggest clubs, and it was a really nice opportunity to compare yourself.
During that time, you also play with the national team of Montenegro. How was it to play for a national team and obviously for Montenegro? And can you tell us also why did you choose Montenegro and not Serbia, as you were born in Belgrade?
Well, at that time, as we said, I played in Champions League, and I think I've been doing good and playing good. What's most important. And I remember I got a call from my agent, said that they've been talking with there were talks with Montenegro national team. They were interesting of having me in the squad. And it was really challenging for me, and also an honor that obviously the country where you're not born in, but you have. Actually, when I was born, it was Serbia and Montenegro, so we were one country. But later on in 2006, we got
divided.
Yeah, divided. So in that sense, I mean the country where I'm not born in. When they call you and they say, okay, we want you to play for our team, so it was really good feeling. And yeah, Serbia had some other players in mind, which is of course fine. And yeah, I saw a chance there, and I went for it. And I was happy that I chose Montenegro. I made 5 games after when I went there. I played 5 games for the national team, and now I haven't been there in a while, but you need to play good, and you need to put yourself on the map always to earn the call for the national team. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna get back there one time.
Yeah. So now, as you say before, you're back in Sweden. You've been there now almost 2 years in MRB. Last year you had a really good season individually and also as a team. You almost won the title. So how does it feel to be back in Sweden in another club in Stockholm? And also how do you feel about training now again and for the next season coming up?
Well, after Malmo, I went a little bit outside of Sweden. I went to Turkey, and then back on loan 6 months in Serbia, and then I went to Denmark for a year. So I've been around, and the journey was good, and a lot of new experience. But I'm really happy that I'm back in Sweden. I like Sweden. Sweden is treating me nicely, and I enjoy my time here. And obviously, being in a club like Hammarby that is just rising up at the moment, it's fun. It's it's a big responsibility as well on you as a player. As you said, we were 1 point short last year to win the title. But everything is everybody's trying to be better each day, from the staff, from the people in the office, us football players, and it's a really nice feeling, and it's a really good feeling to be a part of it. So Hammarby has something special also with the fans, and just embracing it all whenever I get the chance, and I try to enjoy. Just try to enjoy as much as I can. So hopefully this year is the year.
Okay. So as you say, you're working out. Everybody in the club is working out, and tomorrow you're leaving to Portugal for a training camp. Did the team already and the coach already talk about the goal for the next season, And what about your individual goal? Do you have individual personal goal that you put yourself and you already know, like, okay, this season this is how many goal I want to do, this is how many assists, how many game I want to play, and in the long term as well, like, what are your goals? You know, is it to stay playing in Europe, obviously, as long as you can, or what are your goals?
Well, yeah, as you said, tomorrow we're leaving to training camp in Portugal that we're gonna spend 12 days over there, and yeah, we've been talking with the coach and also with people from the club, the sports director and everybody. We set high goals this year, obviously, because we have everything we need. We have good facilities, you guys saw it. We have good training pitch, good clothes, so everything that you have everything that to feel as a football player, that you can give your maximum.
Yeah.
So obviously the goals are set high, to winning the league, winning the cup, reaching the group stage of Europa League, but you need to work hard for it, no slacking off. That's what I learned throughout my career. You need to work hard in order to, football works like that. You work hard for yourself and it's gonna it's gonna come back to you, one way or another. So as for the personal goals, normally I don't set the goals like I'm gonna score this much, I'm gonna assist that much. I just want to be better every single day. So the goal, I would say, is to be fit, avoid injuries, stay positive, stay happy, because that's what's important, and give 100% always. No matter if it's 5 minutes, 55 minutes, or 95 minutes. I try to be positive, and that energy that I have to spread onto my teammates in situations on the pitch and the training or whatever. So I would say those are the goals.
Alright, so really excited to start this season.
Yeah, it's we came back from the break in January. It was beginning of January, so we had 4 weeks. 4 weeks that are behind us of tough trainings, sometimes 3 trainings a day. So we never been training that much, to be honest, since I came to Hammarby. And as I said, everybody's trying to be better, and so are we, football players, doing our things, training hard, and it's exciting. So first we start with the cup in the end of February, and then the league comes in April.
Alright, so we're looking forward to
for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So you're only 26 years old, but looking at your career, is it like one favorite moment that you had in mind? Obviously we talk a bit about Champions League, but is it another special moment, or is it this one?
It's really hard to just point out one particular moment, because there's many, especially now in Hammarby, because for me the fans are what makes it even better, and obviously when I was in Malmö, the fan base was big, and the support was good, but when I came to Hammarby, I experienced like another dimension of having fans behind your back, and it's like 25,000 people, 22 minimum, 22,000 people each game at home, and they're following you around, like wherever you go. Is it Östersund or is it Malmö? South, north, east, west, doesn't really matter. They're always there for you. So it's really hard to point out one single moment in my career, because I had many good ones. But now when you ask me if I have to think about it, I said it would probably be the debut in the Champions League, because it was my dream since I was a kid. Standing out on the pitch and hearing the Champions League anthem. That was something that I've been dreaming about, and when it happened, it's just an unbelievable feeling. Something that I never felt before. So hopefully we're gonna bring Champions League to the new Söderstadion, and in a couple of years, and I can live that dream again.
Yeah, so we we hope that you live that dream again, and
I also
we wish
think-
you the best.
thank
you
you.
know. Now, what do you think will be like? What was the biggest challenge that you had to make, or that you had in your career, like so far?
The biggest challenge, I would say when I was in Turkey, in terms of biggest challenge, like being tough, I can say I made not a mistake, but looking back at it, maybe I would, do it differently. But also in a way, what happened to me in Turkey is that I'm happy because I went that path down that road, because it made me think differently. It showed me that you cannot take anything for granted. You need to always be on your 100%, because football is like that. If you don't perform, people just forget about you. So you always need to put. Look at now we're talking about Zlatan, and just look at him. He's been playing on a high level for so long, and now comes back to Milan and scoring again, being on his top. So you know what I mean. That's what also makes players so big, and looking back at Turkey, I got a little bit relaxed, to be honest. Wasn't that hungry, so it was really difficult the very difficult moment not playing the games, and being in a country where not so many people talk English. So it was a little bit tough, so to say, but I think it just made me stronger. I went through it, went back home to Serbia for 6 months on loan, and started training hard again, getting fit, starting to play good. Then I went to Denmark, and I started rising again. So I would say Turkey was my biggest challenge, and I went through it. So now I'm back on the track as well.
So you say you went through it. Like, can you describe a bit more about like how did you make it through it? Was it like when you talk with your family or friend, did you understand and get motivated again and be like, what am I doing? Like,
it's so easy to get. It's so easy to get like mentally, let's say, not broken, but mentally down. It's so easy, like to say, okay, this is not working out. I don't want to play football anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And that kind of like moment I had in Turkey, and you also realize that because so many people they say, obviously people think it's about the money, and so many people come and say, oh yeah, you didn't play, you were sitting on the bench, but you earned the money. Like for that amount of money, like I would sit on the bench any day in the week. But they don't understand that at that time I realized that money is not important. For me it was not really important at all, but at that time I really realized that, so it doesn't really matter if you earn 2 million per year or 2,000 a month or whatever. It's about playing, doing what you like, and being happy at the place where you're at. So in Turkey I wasn't happy, and it was really difficult with not playing. But then I went home. I started training with my personal coach back then, and started playing in Rad again for 6 months, and it gave me, the motivation came back, the work ethic came back. In Turkey it was hard to like continue working, because I was thinking like, if I work out or not, I'm still not gonna play. So I had that mentality, which was not good. So then I went back home to Serbia, and my mentality changed a little bit. And looking back at it, it actually helped me last year in Hammarby, because I was not playing that much, but I never quit the last year. I always, even though if I was not playing, I was in the gym. I was always doing extra work. I was training individually, knowing about my mistakes that I made in Turkey. And then when I actually got a chance in September last year to play for Hammarby from the start, in the first 11, I scored some goals, and we made some big wins. And then you see that the people actually appreciate it, and you feel more happy when you see it came back to you. And that's what I said previously, meaning if you give it your all to football, if you devote yourself, it's gonna come back anyways. If not today, maybe in a month, maybe in a year, you never know, but it's gonna come back for sure. So that's what I mean by, you know, the biggest challenge I had in Turkey, and not feeling good about football and training. So now I have a different approach and different look at it, different angle. So it's a lesson that I learned.
Yeah, that's what we heard a lot. Like, you have to fail a bit you have to fail to learn and to grow and to go forward.
Definitely. I mean, I often think about, you know, for example, Messi and Cristiano. They are amazing for the past 15 years, 20 years. You know, like, they've been on top. They're just changing on who's better each year, and that's something that I don't really get it. You know, like, it's so hard. You need to be so strong mentally. You need to be bulletproof. You know, like, to wake up each day and train, and, you know, be so devoted and hungry, and it's amazing. So that, I think the mental strength is what makes the big players different than the average ones, so to say, average ones. You know, so if you're strong mentally, you can achieve a lot. But you should always be happy with what you're doing. You should always be, you know, you need to love what you're doing in order to do it well.
Of course.
So if you don't want to do it, and you don't like doing something, it doesn't matter if it's sports or not. Rarely you will succeed. So.
And in Turkey, did you have a moment where you wanted to give up, and you were like, okay, I'm done with soccer, like, this is it, you know?
Nah, I mean, I never had that moment in my head where I said, I'm done with soccer. Like, soccer. I say soccer.
I'm sorry.
No problem. I never had this moment in my head, like, I'm gonna quit football. Like, I'm not gonna play that, because it's my life. It's what I like doing. It's what I play for fun, because I love it. So I never had that. But I've been thinking about, I'm gonna go home and play in some club just for fun, and like, having this joy of just enjoying football again, because I was not enjoying it in Turkey at all. But I was never about quitting. I guess that's how I am. I don't want to quit whatever I'm doing. I want to go through it, and because there's a big reward at the end when you succeed, or when you go through whatever you do. If there's no reward, you will have self-reward. Like, you will feel happy and whatever you do. So it's I was never thinking about quitting. It's my life, so I can't quit on myself.
Being a professional today and for the past few years, do you consider yourself as a role model? Like, because obviously, like, you have people from, like, now MRB, or like the youth and stuff, that look up to you. Like, is it something that you think about when you're on the field, or even when you're on the street?
Yeah, it's easy to forget, though. It's easy because obviously, for me, also when I came to Malmo, it happened so fast, as we said, and it's just like, because when I was playing in Serbia, and we didn't have a fan base like that, and nobody was like coming and asking for autographs or pictures, so I got to Malmo, and it just started, with this, and I was like, okay. I was kind of like prepared for it, but not really. And obviously now in Hammarby is even bigger, so definitely, a role model for some, and I feel really happy when I hear people saying that, oh, my son is so inspired by you, thank you for doing this, thank you for doing that. But it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget that you are representing first your club, first Hammarby. Wherever you go, you represent Hammarby, and then you represent yourself as a role model. So you need to also be a little bit careful, obviously, with what you say, how you behave. It can be like misinterpreted, you know.
Of course.
So I always try to at least be positive, you know, and be happy when I meet people, when I talk to them. Try to give some good advices, and to the kids as well, and it means so much to them, and I understand because I've been one and I am one, you know, so it means you know, it means so much to them, and I'm happy if I can make them happy.
Yeah, that sounds good. Overall, what do you think, like, football and sport in general, like, taught you as a, like, person, like, and what lesson, like, do you remember from sport, like, and playing soccer, football?
Well, the big lesson I learned is, we talked about it, it's that whatever you do, you need to have passion for it in order to work. So that's what football had made me learn throughout the years, because I've seen so many football players that don't want it enough, you know, and they're just there for either for money or, you know, for different reasons, and it just didn't work for them. And then they, you know, I had so many friends that played with me, and now they are, you know, lawyers, doctors, whatever. And then when we talk, you know, you always share those experiences and you learn through them. So at least football has taught me that, to you know, work hard, never quit on what you like, what you love to do, and be patient. That's one of the lessons that I learned also, this being patient, you know, wait for the right moment and be prepared. And besides that, be kind to people, be happy, joyful, you know, because it's what it's all about. You know, there's too much going on in the world today, and I don't want to talk about it too much, you know, like world peace and stuff. I don't want to get into that, but you know, it's a fact that there's too much hate going on. People are, you know, especially social media, people are just waiting to flame someone and write bad stuff. So you know, you should be kind to one another and be happy, and it means so much to someone when you say good things to them.
And as you know, this channel and this, like, what we're doing, it's about sharing professional athlete story and showing that everybody's journey is different. If you had one advice to give to the people that are watching, that can be about sport, that can be about anything, but one advice that you can give them that can help them to achieve what they want to achieve, what will it be?
It would be, do what you love, and stay happy and positive.
Yeah,
you know, because I think those are the most important things. To do what you like, love, and to be happy while doing that. Because if you're happy, everything is much easier, you know. And if you're doing what you love, it's just a plus. So I think that advice would I give to people that are listening.
Thank you. So that was the last question. So we just want to give you a big thanks for meeting with us today, and we wish you all the best for this season and for the future season.
Thank you. And yeah, it was a pleasure being a part in it. And as I said, I really like the idea behind it, and I hope you guys go through with it, and you know, reaching big players and big opportunities, big athletes, and you know, spreading the idea and the message of you know, the athletes in the world. So it's a really good thing that you're doing this. So thank you.
Thanks for watching the video. We hope you like it, and if you don't follow Vladimir on social media yet, you can find all of the links in the description below.
So if you like this interview, please subscribe to our channel. It's really important to us, so do that, but also like, comment, and share this video on your social media. And about the surprise, we have this. This is a signed jersey by Vladimir. and it can now be yours. So if you want to know more about that, go to our Instagram page. You can find the link in the description below.
Thank you again, and we see you on our next video.